94.9 The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on the nicest day that you will ever see in February. Temperatures, I believe, have hit the old 7 mark. Yep. 70 degrees at the moment. Little wind gust, but you know what? Into each life, some little bit of rain must fall. 70 degrees on February the 3rd. Now, before you decide that this is the beginning of spring, it's a little early for that. Let's go to Murfreesboro. The last time Kelly Holcomb was on the show, LeBron James was a Cleveland Cavalier.
It was at St. Vincent, St. Mary's.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Just been all over. Good gracious. Got home last night about 8 o'clock. Fort Myers to Murfreesboro.
Yeah. Let's
and
get
everywhere
the
in between.
Let's get the world travel schedule.
I got into Fort Myers the other day. I told yourself and Billy that my wife always finds a nice place to stay. We stayed on Captiva Island. We stayed at the end of the island, which, you know, the cops were out down there. You can only go 30 miles per hour. So they were pulling people over left and right. So I was doing 30. So it takes you forever to get there, but it's amazing what all those hurricanes did. Exactly.
Yeah, getting down to Florida, you got to move at a snail's pace, basically.
Snail's pace, and then it's a cool place because my wife found this place right on the beach. It was it was a house, but they had split every room up, so we literally had a bed and a bathroom. We barely had enough room to put our suitcases. I said, Lori, where have you put us at, honey? But we could walk out of the house and we could walk right onto the beach. So we got to do that for a day, and then we drove from Fort Myers to Orlando after that. And if anybody's been on that Interstate 4 from Tampa to Orlando, that is a headache and a half. I would not ever wish my worst enemy to do that. That's crazy. So we stayed over in Orlando and DeLand, Florida, and we watched my daughter play, and then we went to Valdosta, stayed for a night at Valdosta, and then we came back home yesterday. So it was a whirlwind, but we accomplished a lot.
So your son is at Valdosta State, correct?
He is, yes, correct. Okay. He is, yes.
There's nothing nicer than Valdosta in February.
It's amazing what that hurricane did, though, George, that came through there. There are rooftops still that have not been replaced. There's tarps and everything on a lot of those homes. It's amazing. Like, you don't even realize, too, and I try to tell my son, like, it's kind of like Troy where he was at, but you're always going to have a breeze that comes off the ocean because it's not that far. I mean, it literally is not that far. Like, you're 15 minutes from the Florida line, or 15 miles, actually, from the Florida line. So it's a pretty cool place. There's things to do there. He enjoys it, so I'm happy for him.
So you apparently were in the presence of the reigning Cy Young Award winner.
I was Chris Sale. Yes, he was. Yeah, he went to school at Florida Gulf Coast, which I did not know that. I found out Jacob deGrom went to Stetson, which I did not know that either. So, but yeah, Chris Sale was there. He was doing a charity event that was raising money to everybody was giving shoes. So they got like almost 1,000 pair of shoes. It was kind of crazy. It had 900 something pair of shoes. I don't know where they were giving it out, but it was pretty cool. I didn't realize how the lady that was sitting beside me, she said, "Yeah, we've got a former Cy Young winner." And I said, "Who is the Cy Young winner?" And she was like, she had no clue. And then she asked her husband, and she said, Chris Sale. And I was like, oh, yeah, he's pretty good, girl. You need to kind of figure out who he is. But I didn't realize how tall and lanky he is, George. Like, he is thin as a post, man. Beanpole.
When he's healthy, because, listen, if the Braves believe that during his tenure in Atlanta, it will all be roses, it's hard for that to happen, because if you've ever watched him pitch, he's got kind of a sling, a little bit like Randy Johnson did. And apparently sling does not work with back.
Or elbow at some point.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So they were very fortunate a year ago in that they got a full year out of him. And, what did they get? They got a Cy Young Award out of him. And I'm trying to think all of a sudden. Billy, help me. Who did they trade to get him? The utility infielder, and I cannot think of him now. And that's awful. Yeah, Vaughn Grissom. I almost said Marquise Grissom.
Just era, George.
Early sign of some issues.
Senior moment.
As a junior, yes. Thank you. Do you have an update today of any substance whatsoever?
I do. We've got a lot of substance today.
Do you really?
We've got some upset fans in Big Blue Nation we'll get to.
Yeah.
We'll got a sad result for Vanderbilt. A lot of happiness in Rocky Top. So we got a lot of SEC hoops.
Okay.
It's all brought to you by Lori Barnette Leland. You can find her online at mortgageladyyusa.com or give her a call, 615-969-4350. We just talked about those games. Obviously, Kentucky loses at home to Arkansas. They fall to number 14 in the rankings. Auburn at number 1, Duke still at number 2. Tennessee jumps up to number 4 after throttling Florida by 20 at home. Vanderbilt falls out of the rankings after losing by 30 to Oklahoma.
Crazy.
And that's what can happen. It feels like a lot of SEC teams have that 20, 30-point drubbing that now South Carolina might beg to differ. They're 0-9, but a lot of theirs have been close, but feels like every team has one of those.
Wow, they're 0-9.
They are.
Man, that makes for a long second half of the season. However, we move on.
Vandy will face number 6 Florida in Gainesville tomorrow. So quick turnaround. You got to travel to Oklahoma, then go to Florida. Tennessee, like I said, they're in the top 5 again. They host Missouri, a really good Missouri team, on Wednesday, who beat Mississippi State.
Beat the snot out of them.
In Starkville.
Beat them by what, like 25?
Yeah.
Where's that come from?
I don't know. But I'm looking forward to talking more about Coach Cal because I've got a few things to say.
Do you now?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, it might. Yeah, I was glad. I was glad in a way to see that. Not anything against Kentucky, but I found myself rooting for Coach Cal for some reason watching that game.
Good Lord.
Did you really?
I don't. It's weird. I was like, I'd like this for him. I don't know why. I know George disagrees.
Billy, are you
I
soft?
Didn't say anything. I do think you need to answer Kelly's question.
No, I'm not soft. I mean, God forbid he goes there. His team's 1-6. He's the underdog.
So you're for him?
Well, it's boring to root for Kentucky in that game.
Well, okay. I mean, I get that. We'll talk about it later. Move on.
Well, we've got some other college basketball news. Florida State head coach Leonard Hamilton announced he's stepping down at the end of the season, ending a 23-year career in Tallahassee. He's 76 years old. He'll end his Florida State tenure as the winningest coach in school history and the top 5 in wins in the history of the ACC.
Leonard Hamilton was an assistant at the University of Kentucky when I was in school.
And he played. Didn't he play at Tennessee Martin? UT Martin?
You got to look that one up. I'm not sure.
He did something with UT Martin because I remember when I was getting inducted in the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, he was there. I think he got inducted with me. I'm not sure. I can't remember, but
he did. He played at UT Martin.
Yeah,
wow,
exactly.
I'm not sure.
Well, he's had a heck of a career. And
he has. I really enjoyed, getting to know him a little bit. But like all this stuff that's happened lately, is that the cause of all this resignation and all that, George? Billy?
He's 76.
I think the fact that he's 76, it was coming.
True.
First of all, what really had gone on is that for a long time, he kept taking Florida State to the Final Four. I mean, to the NCAA tournament. And so any thought of using he's getting old, it was hard to do. You knew the first time they had a little slippage that was probably going to happen. And so here we go.
Yeah, but really good career. He also advanced to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, like you said, George, on 4 occasions. So did a really good job there. But the bigger piece of news.
Stop there, because we're going to talk about it after the break.
Okay, little teaser there.
Yes.
It's an NBA piece of news. We'll let that sit.
Luka Duka.
I cannot believe that.
I can't either.
Also, in college football, Tennessee special teams coordinator and outside linebackers coach Mike Eckler, the psycho on the sidelines that's screaming at everybody and jumping up and down, he's leaving for Nebraska after 4 years on Coach Heupel's staff. He's from Nebraska, and he coached there from 2008 to 2010.
Yeah, this was, I think, just a matter of time.
But that's a loss. I mean, he's one of the best special teams coaches in the country.
Right. He's a Nebraska guy through and through. I read some comments about back when he played in the early 90s, and he was kind of a kamikaze guy on special teams. And, they said, he'd take off his helmet and there'd be blood everywhere, and it was just crazy. Anyway, best of luck to him.
Alabama is set to hire Ryan Grubb, in a way, rehire him as their offensive coordinator. Did they have him on staff, Kelly, for like a month, and then he went to Seattle? I think that's what might have happened. But he's rejoining Kalen DeBoer with the Tide. Things didn't go particularly well in Seattle.
They didn't go all that great in Tuscaloosa.
Right, but Seattle had to let him go, unless there were some conversations.
Who knows?
But
there may have been a mutual agreement. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, I don't think it worked out either place. So I don't know. We'll see.
So I wonder if
the Alabama fans are happy about that.
I would think that right now the Alabama fan base is really mixed. And,
yes.
When's the last time they felt like this?
Well, I mean, you'd have to go back to like 2005.
That's crazy.
Nobody dared ever say that about Nick. Although I bet there were some mumbles when he got beat by UL Monroe.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Though, here's the deal: he didn't start out good because Louisiana Monroe beat him in Tuscaloosa when he took over the job.
But Grubb's been with DeBoer since his FCS NAIA days. And
here's what, to me, it seemed like they weren't ready to play every week.
No.
And that's an easy comparison for an Alabama fan to say, by God, that never happened when Nick was here.
But aren't you going to start seeing that more and more? I've brought it up on our show here. Don't you think that this transfer portal and all these kids, there's no loyalty whatsoever, but don't you think that's going to start happening a little bit more each and every year, George? Like, these coaches are in a precarious situation where, like, if you have to motivate these guys, and I know that's part of what it is in college football, but, like, you can't do that every week, and it just seems like when you got guys coming in for their first time and they hadn't been part of the organization, they hadn't been part of the program, don't you see this stuff happening more and more?
Oh, absolutely. And just imagine this. Okay, Thursday night, the teammates are out for chicken wings, and one of them spills the beans that so-and-so is making X. And then at the end of the table, so-and-so saying, he's getting paid X amount more than I am, and I'm starting, and he's not starting. And then that player says, screw this. I mean, that's the kind of crap now.
It's going to go on.
Yeah, that coaches somehow have to nip in the bud. And I don't pretend to know how you do that.
Well, Chip Kelly is making a lot more than all of us now. He is headed to the Las Vegas Raiders to become their new offensive coordinator, leaving Ohio State. The Raiders told candidates during their search they were making a serious commitment with an infusion of cash from the new owners. Kelly was lured to Vegas with a deal averaging $6 million per year.
As offensive coordinator.
In the NFL.
Wow. It's a lot of moolah.
but that's why people are annoyed with the college game. These assistants are leaving left and right for the NFL for pay raises.
Well, now hold on a second. Is that really all it is,
Not
or is
all,
that?
but
Hold on. Is this a tad bit of a mass exodus
at Ohio
away
State
from Ryan Day? I mean, look. Why does the defensive coordinator at Ohio State bolt to go to Penn State? Because it's a better program?
Isn't there a little bit of you got your national title? Is there a little bit of that?
I don't know.
Assistants?
I don't know.
Here's the same thing used to happen to Nick Saban, George.
Yeah.
Like Butch Jones. He leaves his post and he goes there. I mean, other guys did the same thing to kind of rebuild their career. Mario Cristobal did the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, I mean they left to go rebuild their career somewhere else. So maybe that's what Ryan Day's. That stuff is starting to happen to him. You're getting all these guys come in. They got to rebuild their brand. They got to rebuild their name. Then they leave.
So, is that an actual house down there? The halfway house, kind of like Titan House.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's right across
where
from
you pledge your life savings. What's it? Across from the Pike House?
Well, I was going to say, what's that place in Tuscaloosa where they get those? Forget what the
Dreamland Drive-In.
Yeah, I was going to say Dream. Yeah, I was right across the street.
Dreamland, great man.
Dreamland, good stuff.
Been there before. Been there, done that.
In the NFL, Browns pass rusher Myles Garrett has requested a trade to get out of Cleveland.
Can anybody blame him?
No.
He's been with them. He's 29 now. He's been with them since 2017.
Yeah, and he ain't getting any younger.
You got to imagine. I mean, I wonder if a contender jumps on him as not. I mean, he wouldn't be a luxury take, but.
What do you do? Is it like if you're a front office though, guys? What do you do if your number one player, the pass rusher that everybody fears, comes to you like that? Like, what do you do? Do you keep him under contract, or you like? It's just kind of like what happened to Derrick Henry here. Derrick Henry didn't fit, so he went to a place where they wanted him. Myles Garrett is kind of the brand of that organization, but like. How do you feel if you're a director or you're a general manager and your best player wants to leave? What do you do? Do you say no? I'm not going to give you an opportunity to win a Super Bowl because we're not there yet. So what do you do to that?
Well, to the Titans' credit, they sort of said, "Look, he's earned the Lifetime Achievement Award. If he wants to go play for a winner, we're going to let that happen." Now, Cleveland may have one of two decisions here. Number one, do they do that? And say to Myles Garrett, go with our blessings. But the other side is, given that this is a trade deal, some teams got to go to them with something that's fairly equivalent, which means when you're trying to, be the equivalent of Myles Garrett, could be quite a little haul.
We got a couple more notes. Preds host the Senators tonight, 6:30 at Bridgestone. But this is breaking news right here. Following a lengthy appeals process, Major League Baseball upheld its firing of umpire Pat Hoberg for sharing sports betting accounts with a professional poker player and friend who bet on baseball. Though there's no direct evidence Hoberg bet on baseball games himself or manipulated them while working.
There are a bunch of little gambling stories that are starting to rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Both on the college.
Kelly kept saying that this is not the last time.
Well,
when we first started talking about all these stories,
this stuff has been going on forever, though, Billy. It's just now getting exposed right now, and hey, everything goes, but like this stuff has been happening for 100 years in sports. It truly has. Guys have been. I don't know if guys have been betting on their games, like they say Pete Rose, but like. There's been gambling going on in locker rooms. Guys do this stuff all the time. So it's no surprise to myself or guys that used to play.
Well, and I was talking about that with somebody the other day. I didn't realize that to the left because I'm just now seeing a lot of these come out in the last 2-3 years. But like you said, I'm realizing how rampant it has been.
So a story got out earlier today, and suddenly I can't pull it up here, that involves some questionable stuff involving North Carolina A&T, Eastern Michigan. I'll say this: if you're betting on those, ooh.
Yeah, well, sportsbook accounts connected to the gambling ring bet against North Carolina A&T, Mississippi Valley State, and Eastern Michigan in games.
Stop there. Not exactly Duke, Carolina, and Indiana.
That's when you've got a problem.
You're really looking. You're looking for a win.
I didn't even know you could bet on A&T.
Well, I
bet on everything, Billy.
After the break, first of all, a couple of changes in the schedule. Taylor Barnette, 4 p.m. Nashville Predators president Sean Henry around 4:20 to talk about the ownership's decision to try to secure a WNBA franchise for the city. After the break, two things that happened over the weekend that stunned me, absolutely stunned me. We'll talk about them next on 94.9 The Fan.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com. Quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Happy game day, Preds fans. The Predators are on home ice tonight as they host the Ottawa Senators in Smashville. The game is early at 6:30 tonight. Pre-game coverage starts at 5:30.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we are back. like a lot of you out there, I tuned in around 8 p.m. to the ESPN telecast Saturday night from Rupp Arena, Kentucky and Arkansas. And I just sort of assumed that Kentucky would win. Never even gave a thought to the possibility that Arkansas might not only win, but win going away. If you had told me, Kelly, earlier in the day, listen, I know something you don't, Arkansas is going to win, I would have said, well, it'll be something right at the buzzer. Shoot, that game was over with 8 minutes left, and the electricity that was in that building at 8 o'clock was turned into a little fizzle by 9:30 our time. That place, those people walked out of there in shock. And the Arkansas people probably were like, where's this been all year?
Yeah, how irritated do you think that the Kentucky faithful in Rupp Arena was? They had to be just totally flabbergasted by what happened because they came in winning only one game. And Mark Pope has done a really good job with those guys, which makes me think, and I'm going to ask Taylor about this when he comes on, but like, do you think that maybe if I don't know, of course, I don't know Mark Pope. We don't know how he coaches. We don't know his style, but sometimes coaches, when you have a big game, like it may not be said, but you can just feel it through everything that they do, everything that the coach does during the week or during the games leading up to that. Like if you feel the tension in him, like we have to win this game, like does that permeate through his players? And it kind of seems like that's what happened the other day. Like his guys didn't play loose, his guys played tight, and Calipari's guys had no. Like they like I said, they had only won one SEC game going into that game, so they were free. They wanted to go in. They wanted to do their coach good. They wanted to play well for him, and it just seemed like the emotion of the game affected the UK kids way more than it did the Arkansas kids.
Except for one thing, Kentucky came out like a house of fire.
Yeah,
at Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean Kentucky's start was really good. They shot the ball well. And then, I don't know, there was a lull at some point in the first half. And from that point on, Arkansas smoked them.
Even when Calipari was at Arkansas the last 4 or 5 years, he would have games like this where he would go on the road. No one expects him to win, and he would pull it out. But
some of them were in Knoxville.
Yeah, a lot of them were in Tennessee. And, going on the road, you wouldn't expect it. But credit to him. I mean, what a job by Coach Cal and his staff. By the way, Kenny Payne on that staff, who was at Louisville, of course. So that's probably some salt in the wound there for Kentucky fans. But, I mean, Adu Thiero, DJ Wagner, Big Z hit 4 huge threes for Kentucky or for Arkansas. And, that crowd had to have been, especially the second half. Like at halftime, that's when Cal made some adjustments. And they got it together. But
I knew that if they got, let's say, to the 10-minute mark, Billy, 10 minutes left in the game, and it was really close, that there was a chance Kentucky was going to get the tight you-know-what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the truth of it is, it never even got to that.
And if you were to ask...
And how do you describe all that's going on? And I know we're going to talk to Taylor and we're going to talk college basketball, but like, UT goes down to Gainesville and gets slaughtered, and then they come back and they slaughter Florida. And then, like, Vanderbilt gets, swept under the rug the other. Like, how does all this – I'm not sure how all this is happening. Like, I don't know, but, like, that the kids for Arkansas want to play. And if you're an Arkansas fan, are you thinking now, like, you're kind of breathing a sigh of relief saying this is why we brought him here. That's probably the biggest win, so far of his coaching tenure here. So how relieved do you think they are?
Yeah, because this probably is the win that they come home and everybody's like, okay, I see why we did this.
Are you relieved
Right.
or more, where has this been? they showed a level of talent.
Yeah,
I mean, why haven't they been playing like that all season?
I don't know.
And maybe it's one game. Maybe it's an anomaly. Maybe we look back at the season and this is one of only 4-5 SEC wins for Arkansas.
It's a hell of a Newt Rockney.
Yeah. And if you were to ask Cal, which game do you most want to win this season, it's that one.
Yeah, it's not UL Monroe.
And for Kentucky, which game do you least likely least want to lose? It's that one.
Listen, these Kentucky fans have had this thing circled since they figured out that football wasn't going to be very good this year, and all of a sudden turned the attention to hoops. And I'll be interested. I guess I don't know if it's come out or going to come out. Lenardi's.
It's actually just out here in the last hour.
Where's he got Arkansas?
I think it's considered, I want to say. No, he's got not even on the bubble yet.
Yeah. Where's Vandy, by the way?
Vandy's last 4 buys. So still at that 10 seed spot.
And look, there's going to be some rough sledding when you go at Oklahoma, at Florida, Texas, Auburn, at Tennessee, at Kentucky. The Atlanta Hawks wouldn't go 6-0. That Kelly, that's what's going on is like football, we're starting to run into these streaks for teams where you're like, good Lord, you think they're going to go 5-1 in this, clump of games?
That's what I was going to say. Like you called it murderer's row during football, but now it's basketball. And we talked this morning. It's kind of amazing how now college basketball in the SEC is becoming more of a power than they're having a better year than the football season had last year. Like football was kind of really disappointing if you're looking at it at the SEC standards of what they've upheld the last decade. And now basketball, like you look at Auburn and Alabama. Can you imagine Auburn and Alabama being some of the top teams in the league? And now UT is crept back up to 4th, and they've only lost 4 games, but all 4 games have been SEC opponents.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy how good that the SEC's gotten in basketball.
So here's a question. Okay, up till now, Mark Pope can do no wrong. He's pushed all the right buttons. He said all the right things. The Kentucky fan base that got tired of Calipari lecturing them about how they ought to behave, because a bunch of them are like, screw you. We've been here 50 years. We don't need you telling us how to root for our team. And the other thing was this stupid thing he put out there about my job is to get people to the NBA, is to have them ready for the NBA draft. Last I checked, his job when he was there was to win games for Kentucky. And when he put that out there, it pissed that fan base off royally. But here's what I'm wondering. Are they now going to turn a little of it on Pope? Because the game they desperately wanted, they wanted to rub Calipari's nose in it. And instead, he came out smelling like a rose.
They can't turn it on Pope now. I mean, he was the savior just a month ago, and now they're going to turn on him.
You've never seen that happen before?
That's how fickle. That's how fickle sports is, Billy. I've got I've had 80,000 people cheer for me after throwing a touchdown pass, and the very next pass I threw a pick, and those same 80,000 wanted to throw me under the bus, and they all booed me. So it's very fickle.
Do we have film footage of that?
I don't know. I'm sure Billy, with all his all-knowing technology, yeah, absolutely, he could probably find it somewhere.
Okay, we'll get Taylor, who grew up in Lexington. He'll join us at 4:00 to talk about it. At the end of the night, Saturday night, there was an even bigger stunner that has opened up all kinds of questions about my boy, Luka Duka. We will talk about it next on 94.9 The Fan. This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
As we step into the new year, there's nothing more important than family and safety. If a car wreck or big truck accident turns your world upside down, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to fight for what you deserve. Call us anytime at 615-242-9000. Really wishing you a safe and happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com. Are you concerned about the Medicare Part D changes for 2025? Believe me, you're not alone. You need to contact Pancoast Benefits. They'll make the changes clear and easy to understand. Trust Pancoast to guide you through it all. Their knowledgeable team is here to help you understand the updates and make informed decisions about your Medicare coverage. Don't navigate these changes alone. Call Pancoast Benefits today at 615-292-3400 and choose option 3, or visit pancoastbenefits.com. That's 615-292-3400 and choose option 3.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Two total screw-ups of humongous proportions.
Sports. We're not living in an era where perfection is necessary.
They thought they were a championship contending team.
Here, we told you not to do this. Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
So it was somewhere around midnight Saturday night. ESPN was near the end of a terrific college game between St. Mary's and Gonzaga. And for a change, St. Mary's got the win. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham doing the play-by-play. And at some point, with about 5 minutes left in this nip-and-tuck game, Sean Farnham gets a text from one of the Sports Center producers, and he just reads this thing out loud.
He couldn't believe it.
He couldn't believe it. No. Nobody could believe it. Essentially, Luka Doncic going from Dallas to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. Now, first of all, the fact that the Lakers were the only team that Dallas talked to has gotten a lot of Mavs fans pissed off. They don't feel like they got anywhere near what it is they should have if they were going to do it. Kelly, the other problem is Luka Doncic is beloved in Dallas. And I will admit right now, I am a huge Luka fan. I hear all this stuff about him being too fat. And look, I get it. There have been times where I've seen him and I'm like, wow. But you know what? In May and June, when he was taking that bunch to the NBA Finals, I never heard anybody say he was fat.
Well, he's a good player, man. I'm
he's
sitting here reading. I'm sitting here reading this article, and the way this went about was the two general managers got together, and that was their only circle. They didn't tell anybody else because they had been through it before. I guess they had a relationship, and the article that I'm reading, I didn't realize that they tried to trade. I'd heard that they tried to trade LeBron last year, but LeBron's agent, the Paul guy, got involved and said, "No, we're not trading him to the Golden State Warriors."
Well,
so I guess with a high glamorous, trade like this, that both the guys are all NBA guys, I guess it has to be kind of quiet. But I think that's what's pissed everybody off, because these two guys sit down in a coffee shop and hammered this thing out with nobody knowing. That's crazy.
I'm not buying that LeBron and his agent Rich Paul had no idea. I don't.
Why would they say it?
That's hard. I mean, Rob Pelinka, he made 3 calls right after this was announced. Lakers coach JJ Redick, Anthony Davis, and Rich Paul of Clutch Sports, and a call to LeBron. I am not buying that LeBron was sitting in New York at dinner and it's like, oh, here's this trade. I mean, this is a massive trade.
Then tell me how it went down, because they had just gotten through playing. They had just gotten through beating the Knicks at the Garden on national TV. He goes to dinner and apparently, it's strange. First of all, I just assumed that LeBron had to
sign off on it,
approve all trades.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what's happened
since he owns the Lakers.
Yeah, this is wild though, man. If you read some of the stories that are coming out with this stuff, man, like who's a better team now that the trade has happened, in y'all's opinion?
The Lakers.
Well, yeah, first of all, I think you're going to get a very dispirited Dallas Mavericks, who, by the way, yesterday got beat by 43 in Cleveland. So it doesn't seem like they put their heart out there too much yesterday. But here's to me what I think is coming. I think Dallas is going to go in the tank on this. Their fan base is irate. They love the guy. If you're his teammate, does he have the ball too much? Probably. Were there times where he showed up out of shape early in seasons? Yeah. But he's also the guy that got you to the NBA Finals. And last time I checked, the last time that happened was 2006.
Yeah, but let's not forget Anthony Davis is really good too.
Sure,
so
he is.
So the Mavs defensively probably get better. Jay Williams made a good point this morning that they probably got worse offensively, but there might be more space, like you said, without Luka having all these touches and AD on defense. The Mavs aren't going to be as good offensively, but I don't know that they go absolutely in the tank. Now their fans probably will, but.
As a GM, though, how do you why do you, the most beloved guy, George has said it, the most beloved guy on the team, they got guys outside upset, at the Nowitzki statue, talking about Luka and how much they love him. How do you, as a GM, where do you go from there? Did you think that he was kind of a problem to get y'all where y'all needed to go, or it's just that he thought that they could trade him and gets I don't know where you go with a guy like Luka. I just don't know how you get in your brain that we need to trade him and we need to move on from him. How does that come about?
Okay, there is no doubt that underneath all of this was this tug of war over his playing shape. The Mavericks supposedly think 245 is his best weight. At times, he got up into the 260s. I grant you that. I've seen it myself where I'm like, ooh, man, he's a little chunky. But if you go back to a year ago and what he did, first of all, I pay no attention to what Jason Kidd's saying. I don't believe Jason Kidd believes half of what he's put out there about, Anthony Davis is our vision. I don't believe that. I think this was a single-handed Nico Harrison, the GM of the Mavs, for whatever reason, did not like Luka for some of the reasons we've mentioned. Maybe there are others. And he single-handedly decided to do this. And all I can say is this is the trade that will define him.
Yeah.
If it works, then all will be forgiven. And if not, he'll be in the unemployment line.
Where does
simple.
Where does this rank among shocking trades?
For me, I've tried to think about what are some of the most bizarre ones that have had everybody have the same reaction. I mean, everybody's reaction has been, are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I heard that, that's what I thought. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen a trade like this. Somebody was saying, I'm like, they traded him for Anthony Davis? Now, here's the deal about Anthony Davis, too. He used to aggravate me because you talk about a talented guy, but sometimes it seems like that his mind is not in the game in certain occasions and situations where I'm like, dude, this guy should be doing that every night. And then some nights he shows up, some nights he's just not very good.
Yeah, I don't get. I mean, there's the side that there's got to be something going on, right? For them to do this, there's got to be some sort of disagreement between Harrison, the head coach, Luka. I mean, I don't get how what has to happen for you as a GM to make this decision.
I don't know. I just know when I think about him, he's a warrior.
Yeah.
The guy wants to win. Now, is he a bit of a ball hog? Yeah, maybe. But if you look at some of the Mavs teams that he tried to single-handedly drag into contention, could you blame him?
How does he fit, George? How does he fit into a situation with the Lakers right now? Like this kind of trade during this time period, like how does that play into the guys are established. You've got LeBron James, the best player probably that they're saying arguably. Of course, you and myself are probably Jordan guys or Larry Bird guys or Magic Johnson guys, but Billy's probably a LeBron guy. So, but arguably, and I don't even know if it's arguably because he's got the most points ever in NBA history, but like the best player ever, how does he gel with that?
Boy, to me, that is a great question because LeBron is a great passer. I think Luka can be.
Luka is more of a give me the ball, I'm going to go score.
Give me the ball and get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that's going to work there because, you've got another big-time alpha dog in there. You've also got Austin Reeves, and you've got Dalton Connect. And for Dallas not to get either one of those, wow. All I'll say is this. Look, this guy, Nico Harrison, he damn well better be right. Because if he's not right, they're going to run him out on a rail.
Well,
hey, was Billy? You might remember this, but last year I guess it was the finals game. Was Harrison the one that was in the locker room that took that drink away from Luka?
I saw that video too, and I don't think that was Harrison. But was it after the finals game?
I think so. Yeah.
After a final, I don't even know. Did the Mavericks win it last year? I don't know.
No, Boston.
Okay, they did not. No, after Boston won it, but it was one. It was a game that they won.
The conference finals celebration. That's what it was.
Yes.
Against Oklahoma City.
Yes, they won it, and Luka's in the locker room. He has a beer, and there's a guy that takes it out of his hand, and then just walks away. That'd be funny if it was Harrison. But there's some people joking that ever since this, then Nico and Luka had some disagreements, but I'm not sure if that was him. That's a good.
I want to assume that at some point the whole story's going to get out. Can you imagine Luka's first press conference in LA? Because he's going to get peppered with questions. Are you now trying to show us that video?
Well, I'm looking at it now. It wasn't Nico. It was Michael Finley. This guy.
Oh, is that who it was? Yes, okay.
Front office guy. Yeah.
Okay. When you look at that picture, and I realize a lot of people watching this,
they're not seeing this.
They're not seeing
what we're seeing.
Right, I mean, what I remember of him last year in the playoffs, if that's fat, I want to be fat.
You know what though? He's not a very fast guy, but he knows how to use his body. And maybe he's better at 245 than 260. But like, are we really like 15 pounds? I mean, I get it, but like, I've never seen a guy that's slow like he is, that can get to the basket when he wants to, can shoot it over people when he wants to. He's an unbelievable talent, and I just don't know if you're Nico Harrison as a GM, how you decide and come across this decision. I don't understand that. I really don't. A guy that's beloved, that took your team to the playoffs, and they got a really good team. They might have had a shot to go back to the NBA Finals this year. I just don't understand how you do that. He better be right. I know that.
He better be right.
In the press conference with Kidd and Harrison, Jason Kidd looked like he had swallowed a hand grenade listening to Nico Harrison talk his babble, whatever he was talking about.
Right, because it appears Jason Kidd's having to say, "That's my boss."
But he didn't even know about it. He didn't know about it until it was announced.
Right, and that would not sit well.
Pissed me off as a head coach. That upset me, man, because I'm trying to get us back to the NBA Finals with this team, and now you've hit me with this, one of the all-time trades ever, and nobody knew about it.
Of the AJ Brown trade, a little bit,
yeah,
because
it's got some of that.
I mean, Vrabel didn't have a clue until we saw that video of him walking out.
Here's the other thing. This is living proof that Mark Cuban no longer owns that team, because those who know him say Cuban would never have done it. He was in love with Luka, was Luka's biggest supporter. And, now all of a sudden you've got a different ownership group and you've got a GM. And I'll say this, I mean, more power to him if it works. But if it doesn't, he will be the ex-GM of the Mavs, because this guy was way too popular in a city that is so football. Luka's popularity was right up there with any Cowboy that you could imagine, and certainly better than Mike McCarthy's.
True.
Okay, after the break, stat of the day. Kelly, I want to say we got one right while you were gone.
Oh, really?
I think
by
we
yourself,
did.
George. Good job. Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, we will return to the scene of the crime. Stat of the day is coming up, and then Taylor Barnette will join us. And Kelly, you may ask the first question.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You got Calipari stuff on your mind? Let's do it. Stay tuned. This is 94.9 The Fan.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket.
The Predators win!
Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. we're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
The George Plaster Show gets advertisers the results they're looking for. For example, here's Metro Nashville police officer Garen Hoskins.
You hear me all the time on the show talk about, changes in career and people looking to serve their community and get into law enforcement and join a great department. And I just so happened to meet an individual who heard my segment on your show and has already applied, has come from multiple different career paths and has always had this dream. And we're very glad to have him. And that's just going to be the start of many.
If you want to be part of the Plaster Show advertising family, it's simple. Just email me, plastergeorge@gmail.com. Again, plastergeorge@gmail.com. We will fit your budget and your needs.
UZ HD3 Laverne, all around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network, ESPN 94.9, The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Talking a little Kentucky hoops coming up with Taylor Barnette. But first stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, or Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to applecollisioncenters.com.
By the way, nobody is enjoying the SEC basketball race more than our buddy Stan Harrison.
No, he's eating this up.
He is in hog heaven.
Oh, yeah. Alabama. Who's Bama got this? They got, can't remember who they have.
I don't know who they got.
They might have an off week. That might be right. We'll check on that. But stat of the day is a football question. We always talk about the transfer portal on our show. Which school currently has the most portal departures in college football?
For this year.
Is it a power 4?
Let me see. It is a Power 4 school. Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
I will go just for no other reason than a little humor. Purdue.
He wouldn't put the picture up there.
No.
Well, that is Purdue, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So Billy, is it a? Can we get another hint here? I mean, this is pretty tough here, Hoss. Like, which conference are we talking here? Mom. He's mom. Okay, I'm gonna go Ohio State since they won it all. Now all these guys have got their national championship rings and they got all their money. I'm going to say, hey, they're going to try to cash in on it. No. Seems like we've frozen.
Okay. I think we're back.
Okay. That's good news. We welcome all of you officially into the 4 o'clock hour. From the Fordyce Center in Bellevue, George Plaster, Billy Derrick, Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, I don't know why you're third on the list. I guess maybe that.
Just as long as I'm on the list, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where I rank, George, just as long as I'm on the list.
And let's say hello to former Belmont basketball star Taylor Barnette for his weekly visit. Taylor, how are you?
What's going on, guys? I'm doing great. How about you?
We're good. A change of plans today.
Okay.
Kelly will ask the first questions.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hey, first of all, Billy, what was the answer to the trivia question? I didn't see it. The stat of the day.
Washington State.
Oh, Washington State.
Things are not good in Pullman.
Taylor, so here's my question, and we talked about this earlier a little bit, but we had a big game in Rupp Arena the other night, and the fans in Kentucky, as you know, wanted to hammer the old coach and to kind of shove it in his face, and it kind of turned upside down. And it seemed like when the game got tight, everybody else got tight, the building got tight, and it really wasn't close. But my question to you is, and we talked about this, and George brought one of them up, I brought the other one up, but are the people in Arkansas thinking now after they win that game, oh, we got the right guy? And then are the people in Kentucky now with Mark Pope losing that game, are they starting to have questions, or is it just one game?
Yeah, that was crazy, man. I just had a hunch on Saturday that Arkansas was going to go in there and get it done. That was a classic Cal thing to do. I really think that in Lexington they think they got the right guy. I just think that the honeymoon phase is over. I really think that was a big game. So no, I don't think they're doubting that they got the wrong guy at all. Mark Pope's done an awesome job in his first year. You know, Lamont Butler means a ton to their team. So I think that they're not doubting him, but I do think that they really wanted to win that game as a fan base for sure. In terms of Arkansas, I don't know. I think that the bar was just set a little higher for Cal to finish out this SEC play pretty good. You know, they're obviously 2-6, I think, in the league. That was a huge win for them. You know, but I think that also set the expectation that they are going to have to win a lot of games to finish this SEC regular season. So I don't know. I don't think necessarily that either program thinks they got the wrong guys. Just still think there's a lot of work left to do.
Don't you think, as a Kentucky fan, that aren't they happy with what's transpired? Because even before the season, like Mark Pope didn't even have a team. So don't they have to be happy? I know the expectations in UK they're high and the bar is set high, but don't you think they've got to be happy with the way that the season has gone, although they didn't beat their former coach the other night, and I know everybody wanted to, but they have to be happy with the way that the season's gone, with the way that started out.
Totally. No, I think he's the right guy. I think they've done an awesome job this year. I really do. They're a really good team. I think they've battled some injuries. They're an older team. They're experienced. They just got to, honestly, I think for Kentucky to win and go as deep as they want to, they got to toughen up and play some more defense. And Ken Palm, I think they're ranked 89th in the country in defense, and I think they're last in defense in the SEC. It's really not a problem of offense, and I think that the people of Kentucky love watching them play. They pass the ball. It's fluid on offense. It's not herky jerky. They shoot a lot of threes, play well in transition. I just think they're going to have to dig in on the defensive end if they want to win games. Like Saturday night, they couldn't get a stop.
And I know that it seems like I ask you this every week, but with the SEC, the way that the SEC is from top to bottom, is this the best SEC has been in years ever? Where do you rank this? Because you look at, like, we all know that South Carolina has not won a game, but they're the only team with a losing record in the Southeastern Conference. I think they're 10-12 right now. They're 0-9 in the conference. But if you look at everybody else, I mean, even Vanderbilt is, you know, you look at the standings. Like, is this the best that the conference has been ever?
I think so. As far as I've been alive, I mean, it's incredible. I think there's like 10 teams ranked. It feels like today. Auburn's still holding on number one. I think it's the best I've ever seen the SEC. I think it speaks a lot to the landscape of college athletics in 2025. And no, it's tough. I think Vanderbilt's a really good team, and they've got a lot of hard tests ahead of them. Their schedule is really tough to finish out the season. So I'll be interested to see how they do. But it's a night where you don't have any. It's a league you don't have any nights off. Anybody can beat anybody.
I've got two more, George. We saw a tremendous game the other night from UT, and they go down to Gainesville a couple of weeks ago, and they get just taken to the woodshed. And then they come back and against a Florida team that's a really good Florida team, they take them to the woodshed. Like, how do you explain that? And you look at UT, and UT's got to play really good defense, and sometimes you don't know where the scoring is going to come from. Chaz Lanier is definitely not Dalton Connect, but he can make shots during some games and some situations. But like, where does that come from, Taylor, with UT getting just baked on the road and then come back and they just totally give it to Florida?
Yeah, that was impressive. It's just it's the chaos of college basketball, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, Ziegler's out, and every Tennessee fan's thinking, "Oh, we can't win without him," and they beat him by 20. It's just crazy. Right. But it goes to show. I mean, Tennessee has the number one ranked defense in KenPom. They guard, and that's what you have to lean on. You know, in the SEC and the NCAA tournament and the SEC tournament is some nights the shots aren't going to fall. Can you rely on your defense to still win games? And that's what they did. I think they held Florida to maybe the lowest points they've scored all season. And it's just really impressive.
And my last thing here, I was watching the Auburn game the other night, and this Janai Broome guy, like, he's not the most talented. It doesn't look like he's the most athletic of guys. He's got great hand-eye coordination. He makes shots. He's tough. He's physical. He came from Moorhead.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they're talking about him now being the National Player of the Year. Just how good is he?
Yeah, it's amazing to see how his career has progressed and how much better he's gotten. He was already really good, and he was under-recruited, you know, clearly a result of COVID and the madness of all of that. But no, I mean, he makes that team go. He carves out a lot of space in the lane. He rebounds the ball so well, you know, and he draws so much attention that it makes all the other guys so much better. It gives them open looks. So I've been really impressed with him, and you know, I love it too that he's in consideration for the Player of the Year, because it's not like he's a top 5 draft pick. You know, he's an excellent college basketball player, and I do think he'll get a shot at the next level, no doubt. But he is a true, really good college basketball player.
Taylor, let's go back to Tennessee for a second. In a span of 96 hours, Kentucky puts a defense out there that says, we don't believe 3 of your 5 guys can hit the shots that matter. And then 4 days later, they look like world beaters against Florida. What do you think is going to be the real Tennessee from here on in?
It's a great question. I think that Rick Barnes is going to double down on his defense. I think that's the best shot that he has, and they're the number 1 defense in the country right now. And I think he's got to keep relying on that because they've been so inconsistent. Chaz Lanier's been inconsistent. Jordan Gainey's been inconsistent. Ziegler's been inconsistent shooting the ball. So they're going to double down on their defense, and they're going to keep doing what they do on offense and hope that they make enough shots in order to win games. But they just told on themselves in a way. You beat Florida by 20 playing defense. And so I think that says a lot.
So as we get to the midway mark of this crazy SEC, and I go back a lot longer than y'all do, I've never seen anything close to this. But Taylor, the one thing that it feels like to me is that only the highest echelon can go on the road and win.
Yeah. No, I think that every single team knows they have to defend their home court. I mean, it's hard to win on the road. It really is. And so it means that much to everybody to win the home games. because when you go on the road, it's going to be really tough. So I think that there's a sense of desperation that we need to defend home court, and teams are playing well at home. They're fun environments. I mean, places are packed. Like, when has Missouri basketball been this good? Vanderbilt's is really good. I mean, Oklahoma's basketball is good. Georgia basketball is good. I mean, like, this is not your usual season. So it's making those home environments really, really tough for away opponents.
Okay, the 5:30 game Saturday was a dud. Carolina was done before the woman said, and the home of the free and the brave.
Yep.
I just don't believe that the Carolina people are going to put up with that. Do you?
No, I mean, they're having an interesting season. They're really talented. I will say this. I think this may be an unpopular opinion. I think RJ Davis is an awesome player. He's might end up being the all-time leading scorer at North Carolina, and he's won them a lot of games. But you look at a difference between a guy like him and a guy like Zakai Ziegler. RJ Davis is more of a scoring point guard. Ziegler makes everybody around him better. And I think when you have an offense where it's too centered around one guy and you're relying on one guy to score a ton of points and to win games, it gets hard. It gets really hard. So I don't know. I think that they've got some stuff to figure out in order to please the fans of North Carolina for sure.
Okay, let me try this one on you. The more I watch Cooper Flagg, first of all, he's the player of the year in college basketball. I love Janai Broome, but please, it's Cooper Flagg. And Taylor, I just don't see anything in his game that gives me any cause for question about whether he's going to be a really good pro.
Oh, I mean, he's a generational talent. He does it all. He's the thing that I love about him is that he's not just talented. I love that he's competitive, he's passionate, and you can tell he loves to play. To me, that's what separates him. There's a lot of guys that come through with a ton of talent, but they don't play hard or they're not competitive. They don't love the game. To me, he has it all, and that's what separates him.
Did you see St. Mary's Gonzaga?
I did not. That game probably started at midnight.
No, it did not. No, it was over at midnight, and you were certainly still up. But in spite of your attempting to make us think otherwise, has St. Mary's for the moment passed Gonzaga?
I mean, overall, or you mean this season?
Yeah, however you want to do it.
I think what Mark Few's done at Gonzaga, I mean, they still are, above. But I will say, I think that it seems as if Gonzaga's had a lot more resources and St. Mary's has made the most out of what they have. And they've done an unbelievable job of recruiting internationally, playing a brand of basketball that's really fun, and they've won a ton of games. I think Gonzaga's just okay this year. They've struggled. I think St. Mary's has them this season.
This is one of their more ordinary teams. They get down 5 or 6 late, and then all of a sudden they decide Graham Ike. And the shocking end was that St. Mary's had to put a sub in, and the sub blocked an Ike shot. I almost fell out of the chair. I was like, where's this been?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, I've never felt – in the past few years, this feels like the most chaotic college basketball season we've seen.
It's crazy.
It really is. There was more upsets than not on Saturday.
Love it. Taylor, thank you as always. Great talking to you.
Hey, George, what do you? Hey, can I ask him a question? What do you think about the Luka Anthony Davis trade, man? Give us something. Everybody's got an opinion on it.
I think it's bizarre. I don't understand it. There's way more than what I know. Obviously, there's clearly something going on in that Dallas organization between them and Luka. It doesn't make sense to me on just seeing it in the news and on paper. But clearly there's more going on. But I think it's bizarre. I wouldn't have made that trade. But I'm not the GM.
Absolutely not. Better be right.
Because if you're the GM, you have put yourself into, you damn well better be right. Because if you're not.
Has Mark Cuban said anything on it? Has he said anything to the press?
No, he's not the owner.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, people forget that. But there is the belief in Dallas that there's no way he would have allowed this.
No, I would not imagine.
Stay tuned. Hey, thank you as always.
All right, guys. See ya.
Taylor Barnette joining us to talk a little basketball. After the break, Preds president, Sean Henry, and I think he'll be on by phone. So back at the station, kind of be ready for his phone call. This is 94.9, The Fan.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Are you concerned about the Medicare Part D changes for 2025? Believe me, you're not alone. You need to contact Pancos Benefits. They'll make the changes clear and easy to understand. Trust Pancos to guide you through it all. Their knowledgeable team is here to help you understand the updates and make informed decisions about your Medicare coverage. Don't navigate these changes alone. Call Pancos Benefits today at 615-292-3400 and choose option 3, or visit pancosbenefits.com. That's 615-292-3400 and choose option 3. Are you concerned about the Medicare Part D changes for 2025? Believe me, you're not alone. You need to contact Pancos Benefits. They'll make the changes clear and easy to understand. Trust Pancos to guide you through it all. Their knowledgeable team is here to help you understand the updates and make informed decisions about your Medicare coverage. Don't navigate these changes alone. Call Pancos Benefits today at 615-292-3400 and choose option 3, or visit pancosbenefits.com. That's 615-292-3400 and choose option 3. The George Plaster Show gets advertisers the results they're looking for. For example, here's Metro Nashville Police Officer Garen Hoskins.
You hear me all the time on the show talk about changes in career, people looking to serve their community and get into law enforcement and join a great department. And I just so happened to meet an individual who heard my segment on your show, has already applied, has come from multiple different career paths, and has always had this dream. And we're very glad to have them. That's just going to be the start of many.
If you want to be part of the Plaster Show advertising family, it's simple. Just email me, plastergeorge@gmail.com. Again, plastergeorge@gmail.com. We will fit your budget and your needs.
Happy game day, Preds fans. The Predators are on home ice tonight as they host the Ottawa Senators in Smashville. The game is early at 6:30 tonight. Pre-game coverage starts at 5:30.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are a phone call from Nashville Predators president Sean Henry. It got out late last week that the ownership group led by Bill Haslam submitting a bid for a possible WNBA franchise. Kelly, I'm convinced that there is not only a market for it, I think there's a huge market for it. You have a daughter who plays women's basketball. My guess is you know better than anybody.
I would think there'd be a huge market in this area too, because I can remember when my daughter was playing basketball, they played Blackman a couple of times, and they actually played before the boys' game because there were so many people, and after the boys' games, so the boys played first and the girls played second, and the arena was full. So this area around here with AAU basketball, with everything that's been going on around here with women's basketball, they have all those tournaments. They started out with the tournament here in Murfreesboro, and then they got the Run for the Roses. So all that AAU tournament stuff has happened here. It's happened in the convention center, as you've watched. So women's basketball around this area, obviously with Pat Summitt and what she did at the University of Kentucky or University of Tennessee when she was there, it means a lot to people around here, and that just seems like a fit with the Tennessee franchise coming here and the WNBA coming here, and it would be fitting for the team to be called the Summit after her. So the Tennessee Summit, that would be really cool, and I think it would be a huge hit, George. But it's just like everything else that's going on around the city. The city's growing. Talking about getting a Major League Baseball team here. They've already got a football team and an NHL team here. So I think WNBA and Major League would just be the icing on the cake, and I think this city could handle it. I really do.
Billy, it seems like, and I know this happened in soccer years ago. First, it was Pele in the late 70s, and that precipitated one level of growth to that game. There have been another couple since then, and this young lady, Caitlin Clark, what she has done for the popularity of the women's game is insane.
I mean, it's Tiger Woods level for golf. I mean, she has transformed the game. There's never been a player like her in the entire sport of women's basketball. Not even close. And so, with her in the league in general, that's good for every other team. I mean, I don't know how many teams. There's only how many teams are in the WNBA? And it's a long season.
You know what?
It's a
I
long
don't really
season.
know.
There's like 12 in the league. So, you probably get the Fever, Caitlin Clark, into your arena 3, 4, 5 times a season. That'll help your ticket sales. I mean, it's massive for Nashville, but I mean, this means you'll down the road, it won't be till 2028, but I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, and I see Sean oh, look at that. Okay, for those of you who are watching, you're going to get to see him in his palatial office. Let's say hello to the president of the Nashville Predators, Sean Henry. Sean, how are you?
We can't hear him. This is classic.
Oh man. Okay, so we have a slight delay. And let me say this, I'm not laughing at him because if the shoe were on the other foot, does anybody think I would be any better? So right now, he's probably looking around for somebody and he wants to yell out, "Somebody get in here." This is beautiful. Oh, I love it. I love it. So, should we just call him?
Let's do some sign language. I texted him. I gave him the number to call. So
that might be the easier way to do it.
I think that's our way out.
Okay, I think it probably is in a minute. But trust me when I tell you we're going to hear about this. First of all, if the shoe were on the other foot, he would roast me.
You nor I would know what to do. Billy's the only one on this gym shoe operation here that would know exactly what to do. I wouldn't have a clue. I'd be hitting buttons trying to figure out what's going on. I'm like, I don't know.
But Kelly, you have a baseline. You have a decent
small
baseline knowledge.
I do not.
I've got a small. Yeah, I do. I've got more baseline than George for sure.
Okay, he's on there, so let's bring him up. Sean, how are you?
Dude, this has nothing to do with me. This is your error. And you put me in the show. I'm still backstage, it says. You don't even know how to work your keyboard there, George. Let's Billy at it.
You knew going in that technologically I couldn't help you.
Well, when I asked you to send me an invite, I expected when I clicked go into my calendar, you sent me a phone number to call. Then I got a link, and it doesn't say a lot about your users because Billy's checklist is 1, have a computer, 2, have the internet. Like, who are you having on, man?
It is such a joy to have you on.
You can put my video. I'll just talk on my phone. That's right.
Oh, looky there. There we go. That's very
I like it.
So
maybe that's why it wasn't working there, dingus.
I just got called a dingus. That's not good. There's been a lot of talk in the last few days about the whole WNBA and the potential for it coming here. What can you tell us about how the decision was made to go after it? Because I think people here are genuinely excited.
Oh my gosh, it's been so positive. And normally, I don't care what you launch, there's always someone negative, right? It seems that way. And on this one, I mean, from the team's name to the logo to how it was rolled out, I mean, people are so upbeat and excited about it. It's really been fun to kind of have a front row seat to it. But it really started with Bill and Chrissy Haslam. You know, they're number one, they're huge sports fans. 2, they're really big women's basketball fans. When Bill was in high school is when Pat started coaching. You know, so we kind of grew up watching greatness. And you know, when we heard about they were going to take some bids for an expansion team, right away, you know, he and Chrissy were in. The whole idea was, you know, let's do this for a lot of reasons. You know, they always believe in Nashville. They can, you know, do a great job with anything we take on. 2, they're a big believer in the WNBA and the direction that it's going in. And 3, you know, he thinks it's going to be a wise financial thing too. So, you know, all things are coming together. It's not, you know, some people say, oh, what a great thing to do for women's basketball. Well, maybe, but it's a great thing to do for Nashville to bring that great sport into. Look how dirty that roof is. My gosh, we got to watch that. Get that picture off there, Billy. Come on, man.
Wow. Who came up with the idea of Summit? Because that's brilliant.
You know what? Like all good ideas, now that people love it, I can point to about 30 people that came up with that idea. If people didn't like it, I could tell you who the person was. But it really was a really nice collection of ideas. We're just talking in general. And then pretty quickly realized, well, there's only one name we should try to pursue. But then to, you know, get her son to embrace it the way he did was really a really nice payoff. So it's tremendous.
By the way, that was the only color scheme that could have been used. That's perfect.
You know, it really is. And it's funny. I remember when the Penguins switched from their basically our colors for the Summit, you know, to black and gold. And I thought, how cool for a city to unite that way. Where now, you know, most of the teams in our city are with those colors too. Ourselves, SC. I put the Grizzlies in that world too. We just got to get the Titans to change now. I'll make a phone call and I'm done.
You work on that. So, kind of tell us what you know about the application process and what can people do here to make sure that the WNBA knows that Nashville wants them?
Well, they know. I mean, we put together a pretty good group of owners, and who knows, maybe there'll be another fun announcement in the next, coming weeks or so. But they know it's there. But the best way I think people can support how strong of a market Nashville is for women's basketball is show up at Municipal Auditorium Wednesday night, for that doubleheader. Get out to, Vanderbilt, Belmont, Austin P, MTSU. Just show how much we all love that game. Outside of that, in the next, a week or two, we're going to get a website up and running, asking people to sign up, to show the support. Find out more about tickets when we get a franchise, find out ways to, get some stickers, T-shirts, that sort of thing. But that's coming. We decided to do that this morning because the response has been so overwhelming. We need to give people an outlet and ways to get involved.
That's terrific. Kelly, say hello to Sean Henry. My guess is he'll like you better than he likes me and Billy.
Sean, you got to understand, this is a gym shoe operation here. I make fun of us every day. You got to understand that. And we all blame it on Billy.
George Plaster. Well, my first interview ever with him, George, and jump in when I'm lying, the stool collapsed. It broke. It was like, that's what you're over at 104.5, I think. And I was like, my gosh, where did I just move to? They don't even have chairs that work. I mean, chairs are a pretty simple thing, right? Man.
Not that day. I just remember time trying to remember, okay, Jeff, Sean, Jeff, which is hilarious because those two could not be more polar opposites.
Well, George also liked Jeff a lot more too, man. He had a little man crush on Jeff. I called Willie George. I didn't know the difference between you two. So
I apologize that you've had a former relationship with George, Sean. That's I apologize to people when they come on the show. I really do. Sorry. Hey, so Sean. So my question is this: like years ago, you hear about the WNBA and all the struggles, and that the NBA's got to kind of get involved and help with some of the salaries. But how much of a deal has Caitlin Clark helped this whole deal? Because George just asked me the question. My daughter played up in this area playing basketball, and there's so many AAU tournaments. There's so many people that come across the country to Middle Tennessee, and girls basketball is huge. I can remember being at a high school gymnasium where my daughter was playing, where the boys played first and the girls played second because it was such a huge draw. And I think it's awesome that we're trying to get a franchise here. The city's growing. Obviously, it's trying to get a Major League Basketball or a Major League Baseball franchise. It's got a hockey team. It's got a football team. WNBA just seems like a fit here. But how much has Caitlin Clark helped this whole deal?
Well, I mean, to deny the explosion with her play would be just ridiculous. At the same time, I just look at their path over the past 25 years or whatever it's been. And, a lot of leagues struggle out of the box, initially. But you look at what they've done year over year, their growth, their presence, new TV contracts, and then making the spotlight on certain players, giving it that star appeal throughout. And when she and a few other players entered the league, recently, the whole level of interest has changed. And I think that's incredible because you're right, we're spoiled here. Women's basketball is as big here as the men's game, and that's not the same everywhere, but it's starting to change everywhere. And it's because I think you have a marketable star on virtually every single team now, which makes every game a little bit bigger in the home market, and maybe tune in and watch what's going on as well. But I'll tell you, if you have a chance to see Caitlin Clark and you're not glued to the TV, you're missing something. I mean, you really are. So it definitely is fun. I don't own the team. I'm not operating the team. We don't even have a franchise yet. So I can't even tamper. So let's just hope she's a free agent in a few years.
Well, I know that the WNBA obviously is looking at other cities, but just how big is having the team name after Pat Summitt? Pat Summitt meant so much to the University of Tennessee, and how big is that to kind of lure the WNBA to Nashville with having Pat Summitt involved and her name being involved in the team?
Well, sure can't hurt. And then you look at one of her stars, and Candace Parker, joining the organization as well. What a stamp of approval, that is. And then Peyton Manning in the same way that he said he loved watching Pat coach because of what she did, the leadership qualities, the demand for excellence. But don't forget, every single lady that played for Pat Summitt graduated. That's a pretty incredible thing to say out loud. When you think about for 40 years. And every single, young lady that went there graduated. That just blows my mind. But that's what she is. She is the standard bearer. I mean, we all should try to be like her more. But the other good sign for the league is there are, that I know of, 10 or 12 other cities that we think bid on it. And they're all big cities and with large groups behind them, diverse groups, fun groups. And to me, that's a really good sign for the league.
Sean, not to change the subject here, but I can't help but think about this year's SEC basketball tournament with probably the best year this conference has ever had. And watching it last year, going to those games, you saw a lot more Auburn fans travel down than I think ever before. You're starting to see more fan bases travel to Nashville for the SEC basketball tournament. How excited are you personally for that at Bridgestone Arena coming up here in March?
Well, I don't know if you guys know it. I love all SEC schools. But you mentioned the one that's now my favorite, and that's Auburn. Because my daughter has just declared for Auburn.
Really?
She's Auburn night at the Preds game. Yeah, so I thought you were going to talk about Father Ryan basketball, ladies basketball. My daughter's part of that program. But no, the SEC tournament is one of those special events that we get to host every year. And they truly are a second tenant in our building. So we really do. It's just you build the whole year around it. Our team actually has to build the year around it from a scheduling standpoint. But the other is when you talk about Pat Summitt, the last SEC tournament she won was in this building. And I think it was 2011. So it's one of those spectacular events that we're just so fortunate that Greg Sankey wanted to make this their home. And, they're locked in through 2035, which is just tremendous. I mean, no venue gets to boast an event like that every single year. And like you said, this is a fun year for the SEC basketball. It really is.
It's insane is what it is. So tonight, Preds in Ottawa at 6:30. I will be running by way of the exclusive Sean Henry shuttle for season ticket holders from the football stadium. And again, let me publicly thank him, Kelly. Not that I'm too cheap to pay for parking, but it's really
but that's being truthful.
But the other is you want to talk about a mixture between his cheapness and his intelligence. The thing was up and running for 10 years before he ever used it for free. So.
That's shocking.
Can we get him out of here? Hey, Sean, thank you.
You guys having me on. I apologize for being late, but I'm glad you're out in the second busiest. No, you're in the busiest ice rink in North America right now, George.
The Ford Ice Center. There's some friends of mine here who have walked in as of 20 minutes ago to take a look at it. And, man, they were raving about it. They're not from here. And so they came in to look at it. And kudos to you guys.
Yeah, you should move the Kiwanis luncheons in there, George.
We'll work on that.
All right. I'll see you tonight. Thank you, guys.
Helpful.
See you, Billy.
See you, Sean Henry. He is a piece of work. Oh, now. I asked for a lot of this.
He gave it to you. I love it.
Oh yeah, he always.
That's shocking. That's shocking. You're late to the shuttle. That's shocking. 10 years late. That would fit you.
No, I don't think it was 10 years. I think it was more like 2 or 3. God knows if I had known, I'd have been there. Okay, after the break, we'll load up the phone lines. Short amount of time, So jump in quickly. 615-553-0933. Again, 615-553-0933. We will take your phone calls next on 94.9 The Fan.
As we step into the new year, there's nothing more important than family and safety. If a car wreck or big truck accident turns your world upside down, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to fight for what you deserve. Call us anytime at 615-242-9000. Really wishing you a safe and happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
A lot of people want to define teams by singular performances.
Sports. Did he not go back into the game after that interception?
Let's get this turned around. And we're all saying, no, they don't. Here. You thought you were on your way.
Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, looks like we got a bunch of calls. I'm going to try and get to as many of them as I can in a short amount of time. Tony in Nolensville, you are the leadoff hitter.
Hello, George, and I'll try to be quick about two things I want to talk about here. Number one, Billy, I don't know if you know this. Kelly, you won't believe this, but Notre Dame cleared out $70 million for their participation in the championship game of the college football playoffs.
Oh,
Notre
wow.
Dame gets a $50 million TV package that runs through 2029 annually, and then they took home $20 million from through the college football playoffs. They're just raking it all in by themselves, not being in a conference. However, the SEC is projected for the 24-25 season. The SEC is to take in $811 million to be divided up by 16 different schools. And so it's all the money's out there, guys. And we all know it's always been about the money. George, I'm going to throw a little trivia out there to all three of you. I'm not so much a trivia, but a stat. Saw this over the past weekend. Since 2001, there's been 121 NFL football games won in the last minute with one possession drives. Of those, the top three was Drew Brees. He went 3 for 6 of the 121. Brady went 5 for 11. Y'all know what Holmes' record is right now?
13.
I wouldn't know.
7 for 7.
Gosh, dude. That's crazy.
That's a hell of a stat. That's stat of the day right there.
That is stat of the day.
And he's 7 for 7 1-minute drives with one possession to go.
That
is this weekend, and boy, that's a head shaker.
That
it really is. So,
Tony, let's talk again soon.
Vanderbilt just needs to keep going. And one last thing, I love the tribute in the Senior Bowl. If you didn't see it, the tribute and recognition they paid to the TCU wide receiver. His brother was one that played at Princeton that was killed in the terror attack on Bourbon Street that night. And the way the game ended was he caught the winning touchdown pass. It was unbelievable. So, hey, I'm going to let you go. Want to throw it out there? Y'all want to chew on a little bit? Go ahead. See you guys.
Thank you. Let me get to Ben, who I think is a new caller. Ben, is this your first call?
No, this is my second call in.
Okay.
I called in.
Thanks, Kelly's boy, Ben.
About
Oh, Benny. Benny.
It's quick, so I'll get short and to the point. Kelly, you know I'm a good fan of yours. I've always wondered, where can I get some authentic Kelly Holcomb NFL memorabilia?
Benny, you know you've tried to hit me up with this before, and it's not happening. I don't know where you can get it. Look on the internet.
They only put stuff.
You could probably get it pretty cheap at this point, Benny. You could probably get it for $1 or $2.
Well, okay.
Right.
Hold on. Let's leave it this way. What piece of Kelly Holcomb memorabilia do you really want?
I think he knows what I've been asking for. I want a good old jersey.
He wants a jersey is what he wants, and he's not getting it, Benny. You're not getting it. You're going to have to buy it, Benny.
Wow.
I'm going to start treating you like Billy, Benny.
Some former coach you are.
Way to be Scrooge. The one person in the world that gives a damn, and you just Ben, I don't know what to say other than good luck to you.
Other than I love Benny, and Benny knows that.
That way.
See you, Ben. Let's get to Clay on line 3. Clay, welcome into the show.
Hey, George, thanks for getting me in. I'll try to be quick so you can get some other calls. Kelly, by the way, welcome back. You've been absent for the last 2 shows, I think. I hope Billy just rode your coattails hard on that.
Have you missed me, Clay? Have you missed me?
I have missed you.
Oh, wow, nice. Because I'm sure George didn't give it to Billy like I can.
I just like it when it's a full crew, Kelly.
That's right. I got you.
Anyway, I'm going to give some quick thoughts on Vanderbilt's game Saturday. I think that maybe the week off wasn't the best timing. I'm sure maybe, around campus, they were after Monday, they got told, well, we're ranked in the top 25 now, y'all are playing great, whatever. Maybe they bought into that a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what you do about a team, though, that in the first 10 minutes of the second half, according to Kevin Ingram, because I was listening to some of the game on the radio too. He said at that point they were shooting 90% in the second half, and they shot 72%, I think, for the second half, and 63% from the field. Maybe some of that's Vanderbilt's defense, and maybe that's just, Oklahoma got hot, which can happen, especially when you're on the road. But the concerning thing to me, though, is the situation with Jalen Carey. Kevin Ingram on the pregame says that everybody was going to play on the injury report, and then I get a phone call from a friend of mine saying Jalen Carey is on the bench in sweats. And supposedly, I guess he dresses at halftime and puts on his uniform because he played a little bit in the second half. And Coach Byington has just said it was a coach's decision, so I'm sure maybe we won't find anything else out. I don't know. Maybe Billy knows a little bit more about that, but that was a little concerning to me. But the biggest thing for Vanderbilt is, I think, especially on the road, Jason Edwards is always going to be there. More times than not, he's going to be your leading scorer. McLaughlin did have a good game, knocked down some threes in the first half. But Tyler Nickel, especially, who had been shooting the ball well, goes 0 for 4 from 3 and only has 2 points. So I think there's somebody else on a game-in, game-out basis, especially on the road, that has got to produce for this basketball team.
Yeah.
We got to get a couple more scores to step up because, like you said, Edwards, he's only one man.
It's easier said than done.
Yeah, but the Carey thing is, that I would assume late to a shoot around or something of that nature. I mean, he played in the second half, so it was a minor, team violation, something of that sort.
Huh. Okay.
So he's back good to go in the rotation for Florida and Barnette, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure what happened, but I mean, he played in the second half, so that couldn't have been anything huge.
Well, this I do know, Billy. I felt like Jalen Carey was, one of the main reasons why we beat Tennessee. He was really good in that game with a double-double, 14 points and 10 rebounds.
Yeah, they couldn't stop him. Clay, I got to run.
All right, see you.
Let me get Eric. Eric, I got about 2 minutes. Go.
Okay, George, I've got a Super Bowl trivia question for you.
Uh-oh.
This is the fifth time that the two teams that are playing have played against each other before. What were the other 4 times?
Wait a minute. Say that again.
This is the 5th time that this is a rematch of a Super Bowl. The two teams have played against each other. Of course, Kansas City, Philadelphia played each other 2 years ago. What were the other 4 times that the same two teams played against each other in the Super Bowl?
The Cowboys and the Steelers, the Cowboys and the Bills.
Yep.
Chiefs, Niners?
I don't think it's been the Chiefs, Niners. Golly, what are the other ones? Dadgummit.
I had written down the 2 you went with: Pittsburgh, Dallas, Buffalo, Dallas.
The Patriots and the Giants.
The Patriots, Giants.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the 49ers against the Bengals.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
That is right, because John Taylor caught a slant pattern in the final minute for San Fran to win the one in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this one.
Good question.
One quick thing I'll get off about the WNBA. Guys, I hope it's successful. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer or negative, but one of the things a lot of people are not talking about is this is a league that's been in existence for more than 20 years, and they've lost anywhere from between $10 million to $50 million a year, depending on what years you're talking about. And I've heard privately, there's some NBA owners that are tired of funding the league. They're giving like 2 to 4% of the money, and they want to see them make a profit. Because I know in the long run, they can't keep doing this. And I know there are WNBA players that want money. So I believe a lot of this stuff pretty soon is going to start coming to a head. Just that's something to think about. Just throw that out there. Guys, y'all take care and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks for the all the phone call response on a short amount of time. We'll wrap this baby up when we come back.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket.
The Predators win!
Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Pairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Kansas, Iowa State tonight. Top 25 matchup, but both teams got upset on Saturday. So big one in the Big 12 tonight at Fog Allen.
Iowa State got ripped at home by K-State.
A bad K-State team.
Got beat by about 20.
We'll see where George is going with Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Let's take a look at what happened over the weekend. There's a couple of picks. Indiana covered on Friday night.
They sure did. Didn't they take that right to the wire?
I think they did.
Yeah.
So they're starting to play a little bit better, and Tennessee easily covered the 3.5 against Florida. I was without Ziegler and Milicic. For this to still hit is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, they D'd up huge.
I mean, I did not see that coming.
Florida didn't either. So, tonight, Kelly, we're going into the Big 12, which also plays a pretty darn good brand of hoops. And we're going to give it a Rock Chalk Jayhawk at home. Now, Iowa State will be plenty motivated after laying that egg Saturday. I just think Kansas is going to win.
Good luck.
Jayhawks.
You know Kansas. I don't mean it, but good luck.
Yeah, I know you don't.
They blew a 21-point lead
at Baylor
on Saturday.
Yep.
The largest blown lead in KU basketball history.
Not a great source of pride there, is it?
No.
Yeah, this is not one of Kansas's great teams. It's good enough to make the tournament, but it doesn't feel like one that could win it at the end.
No.
Kelly, it's been just marvelous having you back.
Thank you, George. I knew you would. I knew you were looking forward to it, and I knew Billy was too. Whether he wants to say it or not, he missed me.
It was good having you back, Kelly.
But let me say this: he was thrilled when you were gone.
He was. I can't understand that.
It's
a term of endearment when I get on to him, George. He knows that. He knows that now.
It's like a hemorrhoid. Kelly, we will see you tomorrow. We'll also see Tony Basilio, and that guarantees it'll be good. Until then,
sir.
So long, everybody.